Johnny in the movie?
Well, I started that. I wrote that. No, I'm just kidding. You know that video? I produced that. No. No. Hey, listen. I mean, that's fun for people to kick around. I'm going to stay out of that conversation. Yeah, but I think I could only say from me that I'm thankful that I never saw Johnny Lawrence as the bad guy in my eyes. I mean, the way that as an actor you have to play your truth. That's the way you do it, So for me, my truth was my point of view, and thankfully, when Johnny comes on the beach the first time, and hi, welcome to the party, you're late.
Thank you, Fred.
Do you have your note from the office? The tardy notice? Okay. Johnny was, he was justified in everything almost, the beach scene, Daniel butts in and he gets involved and takes the first swing, if I remember right. And he's, before he beats him up at the fence, he's dousing him with a water hose, and Johnny's minding his own business. So I don't feel like Johnny was stalking this kid and making his life miserable around every corner. I mean, he had his own justification for his responses. They were extreme because of what he knew. And Daniel needed to win. But listen, The Karate Kid is a beautiful film about a father and a son relationship and kid overcoming his odds. But from my point of view, I had to take it a certain way for it to work for me as an actor. And I saw the goodness in Johnny, and I saw at the end when he hands him the trophy and says, "You're all right, LaRusso," and he didn't want to sweep his leg. And that was the relief for me at the end of that film was, okay, there's a redemptive quality about him. If he's not fully redeemed, we know that he's on the way to. And that stuck for years. And I think that's something great about the writing of the script and the way they cut it and directed it. Karate Kid's also a story about a boy who's under the spell of Sensei Kreese who gets liberated from Miyagi through this other kid. So in a way, Miyagi sets Johnny free and all these guys free. But now, with who's the real bully and doing this and that, there's two sides to every story. That movie was told through that point of view. If you told it through Johnny's point of view, it would have been Johnny Lawrence and his friends at the beach, and meanwhile this mean kid from Jersey came into town and started a fight with him on the beach and tormented him and tackled him during soccer and all that, you know what I mean? Like, you could have told it anyway. It's the power of storytelling, which is nice for the show now. And then the guys approached me for Cobra Kai and approaching it through Johnny Lawrence's eyes, and that's been a lot of fun. But now season 2, it zooms back and it becomes very much, season 1's very Johnny focused, this one's a lot more broad. It's kind of like seeing the whole valley. There's Miyagi, there's Johnny, and there are these new characters, and what happens is cool.
This role and others you've played have made you a pop culture icon, a fantastic place to be. What pop culture icons do you have? Do you have a favourite James Bond, a favourite Beatle, for example? Anyone that's entertained you for years that you put on a pedestal?
Oh, wow, that's a really good question. I'm an 80s kid. Mine are like old bands, I like Van Halen's and and I don't really have any, but I mean, back in the early days, I think my first one was like Leif Garrett, Donny Osmond, or the cool kids, and I looked up to. Along the way, my dad was in the film business and worked with Clint Eastwood and Chuck Norris, and I got to meet Chuck Norris on the set one day, and when I was just about 14 years old, and I remember him just being the nicest man, and so I kind of was on the inside behind the curtain of Hollywood because my dad was in the business. I met Michael Caine on a movie called The Island, and David Warner, who is like one of the best villains of all time. And I was a stand-in on this movie called The Island, directed by Michael Ritchie, and Michael Caine was a hero and David Warner was the pirate. And I remember David Warner being so nice to me and talking to me and kind of being, "Hello, lad, how are you?" And and I just remember as a young wannabe actor someday how much I was awed by that. And so my heroes were kind of like seeing, my dad also was the associate director of The Love Boat, and so I would get to see a lot of people. So. But no, I didn't have that pop icons. I don't really have the posters or that kind of thing. Yeah, it's weird to think that I'm maybe that to somebody,
Well, now that after season 1 came out, did you notice any changes in fan reactions to you on like taking your character or just you in general?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Karate Kid, I was always, I hated you, the biggest jerk, and people would come up and go, "Hey, son, did you meet this man? He's the biggest. He scared the crap out of me." Like I need that, So it's nice to have people go, hey, I'm rooting for Johnny. I get him a little more. That's cool. Yeah, but there's a lot in the way of that. Daniel's training his son Robbie, and all Johnny really wants in the world is a chance to be with Robbie and be his father. But yeah, there's some more dance between their friendship, whether they can ever be friends again. But there's so much in the way of this, especially now that Kreese is there, and the kids are now, he's starting Miyagi-Do and Johnny's continuing with Cobra Kai, and these kids are starting their own rivalries that takes its own life way away from Johnny and Daniel, so that complicates things a lot more. So there's a lot between these two characters, but it's a lot of fun to play those REO speedbagging moments with Ralph. Yeah. With YouTube?
Yeah,
Well, from the moment we walked in, we pitched it to a number of places around town, and before we left their room, they wanted the whole season. They wanted a whole season, and that never happens. So usually you go in at a pitch, and they'll say, we'll buy a pilot, or we'll look at it, we'll get back to you. I mean, Suzanne Daniels and YouTube at that point just said, we're taking it, we want it right now, and they fought for it, and so they've been great. They've been awesome from the beginning. They've just been, it's been the right home for Cobra Kai, and allowed us creatively to explore it without being overly micromanaging and the storyline and all that. There's just a lot of faith in the writers, John, Josh, and Hayden, and letting us do this with their full support, and they've been awesome. I had a great time with them. Yeah.
One of the advantages of YouTube Red is the reach, of course, but one of the disadvantages is yours is an Emmy-worthy performance, and I would argue that if it was on another channel, it would have a chance. I know that your stunt performers have got Emmy nominations. What's it going to take, other than a seismic shift in the industry, the actors on your show to get Emmy consideration?
That's a great question. I don't know. I think, it's really... I don't know if there's something too about YouTube having been the new kid on the block and how much the industry opens up to that idea. But there's a lot that goes behind getting something like that. I think you have to aggressively kind of go after that and campaign for that. For that. I mean, I think the quality of the show stands up there with anything that's out there, and I'm super proud of that. I don't think anybody's goal is to win any awards. I think our goal is to keep doing this and to entertain people and do excellent work. And if something like that comes around, great, and it'd be awesome. But no, that's a question for them, for YouTube Premium, on how they can make that happen, and Sony as well. But we're also doing, I know we're doing an Emmy party event, I think May 4th at Sony. So there's some luncheons that we do and things like that to make people aware of the show. We also did that one time last season. But that seems to be a whole other, that's a whole, you probably know more about that than I do, really. That's a whole campaign. That's a whole...
It's down to money.
What's that?
Got to spend the big bucks.
Well, I guess so. I think that is it. I mean, I think, you got to have the parties, you got to have the people there, and that's a whole effort in itself. And, but I'm happy that our work across the board has been talked to in that caliber. And that's truly my reward, that it's holding up to the original film, and it's been received with such open heart, open arms. Thanks. Say that one more time.
How was with Karate Kid being such a cult classic, knowing that Cobra Kai was actually accepted by that fan?
Yeah.
How was that like?
That was Yeah, well, I mean, that was our goal, and that was the main point. I know when they pitched it to me and Ralph, we both wanted to make sure the tone was right, and what's the tone? Is it going to be that? These writers, creators, Josh, John, and Hayden, man, they're huge fans of the franchise. They know it so well, and they came at it with such great writing, and then they tried, and we jumped in with them, and so the response of it being like the Karate Kid and in that same fabric is awesome. Yeah, it's a continuation. It's like, it was, the Karate Kid couldn't really be made today. I don't think you could release the actual Karate Kid today and it worked. But it's beloved because it's held for so long. But this Cobra Kai is the Karate Kid today, in the language of the youth today, and the kids today, and of this where we're at today with the internet and how much has changed. So Cobra Kai is the Karate Kid now, you know, what it would have been. So it's an incredible, you know, foundation and root that this franchise has birthed, and that it's still going on. Yeah, and I love hearing those stories of families that are watching it together and like, oh, I could watch this with my kids and my, you know, that's thrilling. You know, like it's really cool. And I love meeting the fans, just, you know, people that got inspired by the movie and that are in martial arts, or, you know, how the stories make them feel. It's so rewarding to be an artist and to have that response. So thankful to everybody.
Thank you so much for being here.
Great work.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.